friends, Bonnie here from Bonniecarollee Makes Cards, and welcome back to Crafty Marrakech's channel. It's Crafty Marrakech's Marrakechiversary, and what better time to do a birthday card. They are celebrating year 4 and I'm featuring a couple of the new products from the fabulous release. I absolutely love cover plate dies, and this release has a lot to choose from. They make for quick and easy cards that are beautiful. And today I'm working with my two favorites, Speckled Canopy and Marrakech Mosaic. They are gorgeous and perfect to pop over top of an ink blended background. I've chosen color tones so that I would have one card that was lighter and airier and the other one more rich. I'm working with Distress Oxide inks on Bristol Smooth cardstock. For this first panel, starting at the bottom, I'm using Kitsch Flamingo, then moving on to Ripe Persimmon, and finishing off with Dried Marigold. I'm working on a sticky mat by Altenew. It has a sticky surface both on the back and the front, so it holds it firmly in place on the work surface and keeps the panel in place so that it's not moving around as you're applying the ink. To keep the blend soft, I have a fairly light touch as I apply the ink. I'll be using the sentiments from the Birthday Slimline tag. I really like the chunky block lettering. It stands out very well against these die-cut backgrounds. Working with the same inks that were used in the background, I'll start at the bottom again with the Kitsch Flamingo, move upwards with the Ripe Persimmon, and then finish off with the Dried Marigold. Each ink color will focus on one section of the lettering, and where the two tones meet, they will be overlapped slightly. For the second panel, I chose ink colors that were a little richer in flavor. Starting at the bottom, I'm working with Walnut Stain and then on to Rusty Hinge and finishing up with Frayed Burlap. When working on larger surfaces of paper, I do have a preference to use blending tools rather than blending brushes. For me, I just find it easier to control the blend when the two tones overlap one another. And I'm not applying a lot of pressure. Although these are richer tones than the previous panel, I still want it to have that soft feel to it. Typically, when I create an ink blended background, I apply multiple layers of ink to get a super smooth blend. I'm not so concerned with these two panels because a lot of the area is going to be covered up with the beautiful cover plate die cuts. Okay, on to the second birthday die cut sentiment. Again, I'm going to be using the same inks that were used on the background. The lettering on the bottom is covered with Walnut Stain. When I move on to the middle section of lettering, I'll switch over to Rusty Hinge, but I will overlap it with the Walnut Stain slightly. And I'll do the same thing when I apply the Frayed Burlap to the top lettering. It will be overlapped with the Rusty Hinge. This will just ensure that there's a smooth transition between the three different ink colors. Here are those gorgeous cover plates. Speckled Canopy is on the left and Marrakech Mosaic, I just moved it. Cover plates and also the secondary sentiment from Birthday Slimline tag were used to cut gold glitter cardstock. Marrakech Mosaic is going to be adhered to the panel with the rich brown tones. To ensure that there's good contact between the cover plate die cut and the panel, the adhesive is applied on the thicker diagonal lines in both directions. And then I'll just go ahead and pop it onto an A2 size black card base. I'll just trim one side of my card base so that it is flush with the cover die. Now I'll go ahead and adhere Speckled Canopy to the other panel. This die cut has more surface area, so it's pretty straightforward where the adhesive needs to go so that it is securely fastened to the ink blended panel. And before I pop it into place, I'm just double checking to make sure I've removed all of those little cute dot detail die cuts. And my ink blended panel was not perfectly sized, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off so that it is aligned to the cover plate die cut. Because this card front has lighter, softer tones to it, I'll pop it on an A2 sized white card base. I'm a big fan of dimension on cards, and so I'm going to stack both the main birthday sentiment and the secondary one. For the card with the brown tones, I've die cut the birthday and the happy from black sheet foam. Haven't removed the excess foam from the sentiments, but what I am doing is popping out the centers of the letters. And foam is die cut, it leaves an impression. This makes it very easy to align the cardstock die cut to it. When the centers of the letters are removed, those can act as registration marks, and so you can use your craft pick to help make any minor adjustments to make sure that it's aligned. And to make sure that it stays aligned, it is set aside to dry completely before the excess foam is removed. Of course, the sentiments for the second card were stacked in the very same way. And finishing off the cards is of course extremely easy. The die cuts are removed from the foam and centered on the card fronts. And here's another reason why I love working with cover dies and their repeated designs. It makes it very easy to get that large sentiment centered. Working on cards that are virtually the same, I like to approach it assembly line fashion. I just find it is more time efficient. And after I've adhered the main sentiment to this card, then I'll finish them up with the secondary sentiment. And removing the excess foam from the die cuts, I use the craft pick. The scripty happy is going to be adhered between the top and second sections of lettering. And with all the pretty sparkle on these cards, there's no need to embellish them any further. The new release celebrating Crafty Marrakech's 4th birthday is absolutely fabulous. Speckled Canopy and the Marrakech Mosaic are just 2 of a whole line of cover plate dies that have been released. They are all amazing, and I hope you check them out. Thank you so much for stopping by, and as always, we appreciate your visit.